Hey folks, welcome to IGA Tech Dive. I'm Jim Montgomery, the governance practice lead with TriVir, an OpenText partner specializing in advisory and implementation services in the identity and access management realm. Today, in the world of identity governance and administration, we will talk about business roles. This is how IG automatically manages access in your organization based on what we know about users. Let's get started and look at the business goal. As an IT admin, you would use business roles so that you can automate granting and removal of access rights. This may be the most impactful and paradigm shifting capability of IG. This is, my friends, how you transform your business into an agile provisioning and deprovisioning shop. Business roles work by doing two things simultaneously. They're a set of identity criteria that dynamically choose members for the role. For instance, you can set a criteria that when a user department is finance, they're part of the finance business role. Second, the role is configured with mandatory access and with optional access. When you join a role, if you're missing any of the mandatory access, a fulfillment is created to grant it immediately. For optional access, you don't immediately get it, but if you should request it in the future, it's approved immediately because you're part of the role that says it's okay for you to have that access. You can grant permissions, accounts to systems, and technical roles, which we'll talk about in another video. Similarly, when an identity falls out of scope of a business role, they potentially lose that access depending on the configuration. You can set a grace period. So if your business can decide which group of users based on an attribute should get which set of permissions, then you can use business roles to automate. There may still be individual permissions in your organization that are used for exceptional access that aren't part of roles, and that's okay. But if you can begin to transform your request and review process to use roles, which automatically grant access, then you will be approaching Valhalla. This means less friction for users to get access, less burden for reviewers. Business roles are pre-approved, so they don't need to be reviewed, and the overall increased efficiency and security for your organization. This is what business roles have to offer. You can even set different approval policies and workflows if your business roles need to use those. Let's take a look at how you'd implement this. Here are my business roles. Here's one for product development. It has a criteria that decides that anyone who has a department that matches product development is a member. This is coming from their identity object. In this case, we are mandating that users that are part of this group must have these group memberships. And in this example, we're going to look at what the impact of publishing is. Once you've designed a business role, you'll choose this publish button. But in this case, we can say that when we publish it, it's going to have 126 new members. That's these folks that are listed here that all have that matching criteria. And because of that, there's going to be 630 fulfillments that are generated and assigned. So I'm going to go ahead and click the publish button. It's warning me that I've not done a separation of duty analysis, but I don't have any SOD rules set up at the moment. So let's look at an example of how you might use this. There is some process involved here. The business must review your business roles periodically to confirm that they're assigned to the right criteria of people and they grant the right access. Permissions change over time, so you have to be diligent that your automation is correct and up to date. And in fact, there are several reviews in IG that will help you with that process. You might want to use the role mining capability of IG, which we'll talk about in another video, to suggest which roles you might want to create based on existing access IG already sees and knows about. Business roles can grant permissions across applications, so it can truly create a role for, say, HR and provide the access across the enterprise that they need amongst multiple applications. In a review, you can choose to only look at items that aren't authorized by a business role, so you can dramatically reduce the reviewer burden. Most security standards suggest the use of roles to grant access, and this is one way to achieve that, even for apps that don't natively support roles. One last awesome use case is to use business roles to cover access granted to users resulting from project-based work. Users might be part of one or many projects, each with different access requirements. When the project comes to a close, you can sunset or revoke that access very easily. So let's summarize. To wrap up, we looked at business roles, which allow automatic provisioning and deprovisioning of access based on identity attributes. That's all for now. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, you can post them in the OpenText community forum or reach out to me at jmontgomery@trivir.com. Thanks.